Hey guys, John Michael here with Peridot. Hope you're doing well. I'm going to talk to you today about vehicle expenses, auto expenses. This is for small businesses. When you're deducting a vehicle, you have two main choices. You can do actual expenses. This is the cost of the vehicle, the gas, the insurance, repairs, maintenance, all of that. Or you can do mileage. So before you even consider between these two which one I should do, because you might be thinking one is definitely better than the other, before you even start as a small business owner, you got to start with business use percentage. If you're only using it 10% of the time for the business, then you cannot write off 100% of the vehicle. You can only write off, say, 10% of it. Business use percentage extremely matters with vehicles. It is common that small business owners will buy a vehicle for their business, but it's also their personal vehicle. So you're going to need to track the mileage on, well, what was my personal mileage and what was my business mileage. Keep that in mind because we have a lot of information out there and a lot of small business owners that think, oh, I'm going to go buy a vehicle, I'm going to write that thing off, I'm not going to owe any taxes. Lo and behold, they could have created an issue. If you're in a business and you write off the cost of a car that was only 50% business, the other 50% can be deemed income to you and put on a W-2. So you've got to be careful on what you're doing with these deductions. Business use does matter. So when we talk about business use, keep that in mind when we're getting into the details of it. But when you're talking about deducting a vehicle, you have two choices. You can take the mileage or the actual expenses. Mileage is the easy one. All you got to do is track your business mileage, especially if you're in a shared situation of 50 business, 50 personal. You track your business mileage. At the end of the year, if you have 10,000 miles that you've driven that was for business purpose, then you can deduct a mileage rate per those. For 2024, that mileage rate was 67 cents a mile. So if you've got 10,000 miles, you're writing off $6,700 auto expense. That's it. No other expenses. Real easy to do. But, that's all you got to do is track your mileage. To talk about mileage for a second, there's qualifying mileage that you can deduct and non-qualifying. Non-qualifying is obviously personal. And another one is commuting. So if you have an office and you're going home to the office every day, that is commuting. That is not a deduction. But if you're at your office and go to clients and go get supplies and do runs for the business, that is mileage. But then when you go home that day, it is not. For those that have a home office and work from home, well, you're not going to have commuting because you're not driving from one end of your driveway to the other. You're driving out to see the clients or pick up the supplies and stuff. So keep that in mind if you have a home office versus an office outside, and you're not going to get those commuting mileage. So then we talk about actual expenses. Actual is the cost of the vehicle. What we mean by that is you can depreciate or deduct the cost of the vehicle. Vehicles have depreciation limits that vary. For example, if you're buying a vehicle that is over 6,000 pounds, a big work truck or something, you can write off pretty much the whole cost of that vehicle depending on the specific year's tax laws and stuff and depreciation rates and bonus depreciation, which varies. But you can have a much more aggressive depreciation up to potentially 100% of that cost of one that you can write off. If it's under 6,000 pounds, then you got to depreciate it at standard rates, and they have special depreciation rates, but it's generally over 5 years that you can depreciate that vehicle. So the weight of the vehicle matters on how much you can write off, but then you get the actual expenses on top of that in addition to that. That's the gas, the repairs, the maintenance, insurance, things like that. If you're doing mileage, you don't get that. If you're doing actual, you are. So if you're trying to make the decision, should I do, I'm getting a vehicle, which one should I do? Well, you got to think, well, what's the cost of the vehicle? What's the weight of the vehicle? Is it a high-cost vehicle and I'm not driving it around much? Then maybe I want to do actual. If it's a low-cost vehicle and I'm driving the wheels off the thing, maybe I want to do mileage. So you just want to consider those things. The thing is, if you get a really good deduction, you write the whole thing off in 1 year. Next year, it's already written off. You're just going to be getting the gas on it and everything. And if you're doing 15,000 miles a year, you might say, well, if I'm going to have this car for 5, 6 plus years, I might want to do mileage, even though I get one really good deduction in that first year, the other years mileage will be much better. So it's a lot of what ifs and maybes with vehicles. Keep that in mind. Remember, business use matters. Can't personal, it's not a business deduction. Keep that in mind. But that's basically the premise of it. It's a long conversation, a lot of decisions when it comes to vehicles, and good luck.